Good morning, goobers. Have you ever randomly remembered a creator that you watched like 5 years ago and you decide to search them up in the modern day only to realize that they're a complete freak now? Well, that just happened about 2 months ago. The LocalScriptMan was a media analysis channel with an emphasis on meta and how to write stories. He ran his own consulting company and would use his YouTube channel to promote his writing philosophies. And his earlier videos are pretty good at promoting that philosophy. My favorite of these videos is his one that he did about writing villains, and he used Arcane Season 1 as an example of that. And sometimes he would even dive into traditional critique like his Stranger Things video or his Avatar video where he defended it from bad criticisms. And everyone was happy and he was just having a grand old time. Until he wasn't. You see, behind the scenes, something snapped in him. He slowly became a husk of the man that he used to be. He started championing movies because they were funny and meta. He started shilling for AI, and worst of all, he started a rap career.
Caught a craft beer millennial trying to finagle my parking spot. Uzi extended mag reduced him to quarks.
Today we are looking at the downfall of Lucas, aka LocalScriptMan.
I'm not gay, but I'm sucking on a fat one. Free Luigi, you can put it on my tab, son.
Alright, so let's begin this journey with the video that sparked the most outrage. AI and Creative Revolution. The video that completely destroyed any and all reputation that he had because he became an AI shill.
I'm gonna give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help my white ass. And if you don't like it, you can click away. The internet isn't real.
Alright, so we've already started off with a deflection. The internet isn't real argument is the same as just saying, it's just my opinion, bro. No, I'm sorry, not all opinions are created equally, and you are stupid.
The ability to render an image is not inherently creative. The ability to sing is not inherently creative. The ability to rehearse choreography is not inherently creative. If someone else made up the task you are doing, you are at least in part a laborer. A laborer uses their training or is trained to execute a task in exchange for money, but a creative decides what tasks need to be done. They bring the vision, and then if they so choose, they can hire laborers to execute that vision.
This is a weirdly disingenuous redefinition of the terms here. Both his definitions for laborer and creator are both just wrong. It almost gives me the sense that you don't actually know what you're talking about, but I'll let you continue.
Laborer is a node in the system following instructions, and a creative is the person who designs the system, either to address a problem or to execute an original artistic vision, such as putting together a film crew, or both. Obviously, like everything else, creative input in the workplace is a spectrum, but that is how I define the two ends.
Okay, this is interesting. You said quite quickly and kind of just shrugged it off that creativity in the workplace is a spectrum, but you don't really articulate what you mean by this because you know that that argument goes against your claim, especially when the creative job that you operate under is in the film industry. You see, Local, there's this crazy concept called collaboration. It doesn't matter how many times Disney and Warner Brothers tell you that movies come out of a machine. They don't, or at least they're not supposed to. Movies are also not one singular person's vision. Zack Snyder lied to you, I'm sorry. Movies are constantly changing with the input of writers, directors, and creatives working on the project. If you pick up any behind the scenes documentary of any movie ever made, you will see thousands of creatives working with the director to bring home their shared vision for this movie. My favorite example of this is the Lord of the Rings costume designer walking through her process of how she creates these costumes for these characters. Specifically, how the costumes are shaped by the characters and who they are. For example, Aragorn has detachable sleeves from his shirt because in the summer months it gets hot when he's hunting. Do you think Peter Jackson figured that out? So this laborers and creators dynamic that he's built in his head can't actually work because the people he's labeled as laborers aren't actually laborers. They are creatives just getting replaced by AI. So let me try to compromise with this laborer's definition that he's just spawned out of his head. A laborer in a film production is probably like a gaffer, a boom armman, a PA. As someone who's been a gaffer on many sets and productions, setting up and tearing down equipment and even sitting in a chair for 15 minutes so the DP can get a good shot, it's not that creatively intense, especially when compared to how physical it is. But depending on how you want to cut up this creative versus physical labor work, according to Local, directors don't even fit this definition. Directors count as laborers. Some directors don't even get involved with the writing process, they don't help with storyboards, they don't get involved with any of the pre-production, and they just show up day one, get a shot list, and say action. You wouldn't call that creative labor, would you now, Lucas? Even I must admit, the definition that I tried to compromise with earlier doesn't even work. But hey, I'm not the one trying to replace people's jobs. To hammer home how collaborative this field is, let me just show you a clip from Bryan Cranston talking about a story behind the scenes of Seinfeld.
I was the dentist on Seinfeld. I said, nurse, will you the nitrous oxide? And I give him the nitrous oxide and he goes out. And so we rehearsed that, and then they left, and I stayed on my set to just get comfortable with the material and things like that. And I'm doing this, and then I hear, hey, you know what would be funny?
Yeah.
And I look around, and up on a ladder was a guy adjusting a light. And I said, what? And he goes, it'd be funny if before you gave it to Jerry, you took a hit yourself first. And I went,
the electrician.
yeah.
Yeah,
And I said, oh my God, that is funny. So we waited until it was showtime, and then I just said, nurse, may I have the nitrous oxide? And that's really good. And I put up, so great. Jerry falls over.
That's awesome.
And cracks up. We had to do that about 12 times.
Yes, even a lighting guy can creatively collaborate with the project.
Human consciousness is inherently hierarchical. There will always be classes, and you should be conscious of them. I made an hour-long video about it, no biggie.
Weird non sequitur that he just made that doesn't actually have anything to do with the point that he's trying to make, just so that he can promote his other video and make himself look intellectual and highly educated on the topic. This is a running theme throughout his video.
You know what else you can't deny? Karma. The karmic principle is an actual law of reality. Put good in, get good out. The average person doesn't deserve greatness. That's the whole point of greatness. And here's my big $100 point. If you're an artist identifying as a laborer, you are locking yourself out of that greatness. You are suffocating the spirit of creation that dwells within you, as well as handicapping yourself economically.
This has nothing to do with karma. Also, the only reason that what you said is true is because you just redefined the words and terms that you're using. Creatives already don't label themselves as laborers, but under your definition, sure, of course they are, because you've already created a false reality that you can redefine terms under.
Say you're a commission artist and you draw a butterfly really well, and you charge $80 for butterfly commissions. You're not going to make money unless someone else has an idea that requires a drawing of a butterfly. They're like, oh, this room would look good with a butterfly in it, and then they call you. So you're beholden to market forces. But butterfly drawings are not federally regulated. You're not in a butterfly art union. You're a laborer providing a non-essential service. And because the service you're providing is non-essential, people are gonna roll their eyes when you start yapping about your rights. When truckers get together and they go, hey, treat us better, society is forced to listen and accommodate because for the moment we still need truckers. But digital artists, zero leverage. Because what are you gonna do? Make demands? Okay, I'll just not buy your non-essential service. You can draw a monarch butterfly? Okay, well, the computer can do it in 5 seconds. You charge $80 for that? I can't afford you. I'm a third grade science teacher who buys her own pencils trying to make a presentation for her students. I'm an underground rapper who has an idea for an iconic album cover, but only $10 in his bank. I am a person with an idea. And you are a worker with a skill.
Yes, if you are a laborer that is really good at drawing butterflies, you're not going to really have any real leverage. But that doesn't mean that that job is going to be replaced with AI. You see, Lucas, there's this website called google.com. Don't know if you've heard about it. It just came out. It came out in like 1998 or something, I think. With this fascinating website, you can search for images. I know, crazy. And what's even crazier is that this takes less time than asking ChatGPT to render you one. It's true, I timed it. I was able to open Chrome, type out what I wanted, find an image, copy it, import it into my presentation before ChatGPT could even make one image. Also, the idea that artists are sitting out there with only one hyper-specific skill that they're really good at and nothing else is crazy. Most artists focus on an entire medium or genre instead of just focusing on one thing. You want pixel art? These are your guys. You want portrait illustrations? These are also your guys. You want Blender models and renders? These are your guys. The only cases I can see where you can get away with being hyper-specific with your talents is when you're really, really good at one thing, and specifically something that a lot of people need. For example, are you really good at holding a boom arm all day on a shoot? Well, you just got hired. Are you really, really good at using one specific type of camera gimbal all day? You just got hired. If you can find something that you're really good at that you can build an entire reputation around of being reliable at that one thing, you will be getting work after college. And this is the point in the argument where I would try to reason with the other side's opinion and try to work with their standard. But I really can't here because I can't really think of anything so hyper-specific that it would be irrelevant, because in real life it's so hyper-specific that it's already become irrelevant. Wedding photographers, while seeming very specific, it could be argued that wedding photography is an entire genre in and of itself. YouTube Shorts and TikTok editors are another one, but again, that is an entire industry built on 3 different platforms. And before I see anyone trying to say, but those are essential workers, no they aren't. Turn your phone off, boom, no more TikTok, no more Twitter. You're okay now. Oh, but wedding photos, no they aren't. You can go to LA and get married at a gas station, take a selfie, and then move on with your day. Oh, but the consumer can't pay for it. Fun fact, they actually can. Lucas has just labeled the wrong consumer. The teacher who can't afford a $500 drawing? Yeah, they've been using Google Images for decades now. The up-and-coming rapper worried about their cover art? Please, if I see an up-and-coming rapper that's worried about the art on their album cover, I think you've got your priorities mixed up here. All right, let me show up here for a second just to speedrun through like 5 minutes of this video, because he goes on this weird rant about how people are constantly talking about the machine that churns out content for the sake of engagement bait, which I agree with him to a certain extent, but I also just don't see the correlation between this and AI. So we're just gonna skip this.
I've come too far not to speak the truth in this bitch. If you don't like what I'm saying, give it 6 months. This shit is gonna get too loud for you to ignore. You cannot r/anti-AI your way out of this. The internet isn't real. You have 2 options. You can get dragged into irrelevance, kicking and screaming, or you can level up.
This is just fear-mongering. Empty threats of irrelevance masking the truth that he's actually creatively bankrupt.
I want to talk about how I reached these conclusions. For the longest time, I was disgusted by AI images. I saw one, I was just like, oh, what's that? Oh, you tell me nobody painted that? Oh. And I fully believed that society would reach a moment of clarity where we all collectively went, oh, and it became taboo. I even considered becoming like the anti-AI dude, you know, in a different timeline. That's what this video is about.
The good timeline.
Little by little, my stubbornness began to dissolve. I found myself belly laughing at AI Rasta monkeys on TikTok. I was on a deadline to finish a pitch deck, and I had a moment where I was like, fuck it. I started punching specific images from my show into Midjourney, and it spat them out exactly the way I envisioned. I generated dozens of them with long, wordy prompts, made tweaks until I felt my vision was fully encapsulated by the images, and then I showed my deck to a director, and he was like, yeah, I see the vision. This is dope, and the project has evolved, and now it's on track to getting produced.
Spoiler alert, his project got canned. If you are making a pitch deck for a show, on your self-imposed deadline that you knew about, and you're concerned about the pictures on your PowerPoint presentation, I think you've lost the plot. Good directors and producers do not care about the literal images in front of their face during a presentation. They care about tone, vibe, and style. What genre is this? Oh, it's a comedy or sitcom? Okay, what sets your vision apart from all the other comedy and sitcoms that have come before? Oh, you have a crazy style with your cinematography along with an absurdist type of writing? What projects are similar to the one that you're trying to make right now, so I know what to do down the line when I'm trying to promote this show? None of these questions are answered in the pictures on the screen. I'd bet $100 that Lucas did not win over the opinion of the director or producer that he was showing this to with the images on screen. He won over the director because he's really good at talking and articulating exactly what he wants. Just look at his good videos. But Lucas taking that experience and only saying, oh, I won over the director and the creatives because of the images that I generated with AI. Just screams like you don't actually know what happens in the industry.
AI might take your job, but it's not a replacement for humans. It's not creative. You can't tell ChatGPT to have a good idea. You can't be like, hey, ChatGPT, write the greatest movie of all time. You have to bring the ideas.
Hello, it is I, Billionaire Andrew. I want to come in here and comment about something that Lucas just said. What he said is that I cannot ask ChatGPT to write the greatest movie of all time, which is really funny because I just did. And what it gave back to me is an entire pitch deck with, guess what? No images, just words. I know that's crazy. So let's read out what it gave me. Tone. Philosophical, emotionally intense, visually stunning. Think Interstellar meets Arrival meets Children of Men. That sounds quite interesting. Logline. In the final 30 days before the universe collapses in on itself, a disillusioned archivist is tasked with curating the last message humanity will ever send, only to uncover a secret buried in deep space that could rewrite the laws of reality and offer a second chance at a terrible cost. That sounds quite interesting. Core premise. The universe is ending, not in centuries, but in a month. Science has confirmed a universal event called the Fold will reverse all matter and time. Humanity's only goal is now preservation, recording its legacy in a message capsule called the Epitaph, to be launched towards a speculative parallel universe. A linguist turned archivist named Cal is chosen to curate the final record. As he interviews philosophers, children, killers, and poets, he stumbles upon an ancient encrypted signal, one to suggest that the universe has ended before and survived. The AI is even able to make up a theme for this, which is the nature of legacy versus survival, whether meaning exists without continuity, love and connection at the end of time, the dangers of trying to outlive your purpose. This is all quite interesting. Did a human make any of this? I don't care. I'm a billionaire. It even gives me a final plot twist for the end of the movie. I'm not going to share that with you. That's mine to know. And I think that's pretty cool. I didn't go on to use ChatGPT anymore because I'm simply using it as an example. I'm not trying to abuse this. But what it did tell me is that if it wanted to go on building and outlining a script, I could do that. I am a billionaire. I have no writing skill or talent. So what I could do is just send this over to an intern and have them play with the AI until they make the script, and then boom, I have a movie to film, and I only spent like $100 on this kid who doesn't even get paid minimum wage. So you're wrong, Lucas. I can generate an entire script if I want to. Do we not see the problem with this, Lucas?
If I had commissioned craftspeople to make those hyper-specific images and paid them ethical wages, it would have taken me thousands of dollars and weeks of time. And I know myself, I would have been breathing down their necks too. It would have been a miserable experience for everybody involved. What would I gain from collaborating with people in that situation? I know what I want. I know I'm that guy. If I need to hire an artist, I will. But in this particular case, it wasn't necessary.
Breaking news, Lucas. Concept art actually isn't that expensive. The idea that you would be spending $1,000 on this is just untrue. And if you're spending that much on a pitch deck, I would once again say you have lost the plot. Collaboration is always a gift. Do you have the ability to combine brains with another human being? Always take the opportunity. And if you had a bad experience with it, cool, maybe you'll learn something through that experience. Just because you think that some people are difficult and frustrating to work with doesn't mean you should be cutting off the human element entirely. This is coming from someone who hates working with people, by the way. And if you think that you are going to be the problem in a collaborative experience, that seems like more a you problem and, to put it bluntly, an ego problem.
If your AI concerns primarily revolve around labor and capital, let me ask you this. Are people with excess wealth the only ones who should be able to make cool shit? Because that's how it worked for generations. That's how these fucking cartels like Diddy were able to maintain control over the actual creatives, because it was running on money.
To answer the question, no, but that's also not how that works. There's thousands of creators outside of the industry making their own art independently. Social media has really decentralized this. Anyone can make a YouTube video, anyone can make a TikTok, anyone can go live. It's another creative outlet. For people who want to make bigger and better things beyond what social media has to offer, yes, I wish that they had more that they could work with. But really, if you're passionate enough, you could go to college, learn anything and everything that you need to know to move on and be be good at your job, find something you're good at, build a portfolio around it, and then maybe in 10 years you might be able to make the one thing that you wanted to make that's really cool while making a lot of other cool stuff along the way. Not everyone's dreams come true. That's just a sad reality that we live with. But if you think generative AI is going to solve the issue, you are just as bad as the slop consumers that you were talking about 2 minutes ago. AI takes no critical thinking. Good job, you're really good at putting words into a box. Other than that, you're talentless. And if that's what you want, then sure, engage in the slop. But saying that labor and capital is the primary motive behind the anti-AI movement, sure, people are going to lose their jobs and it's going to suck, and nobody wants that. But the entire movement is about the preservation of the human experience. AI art is not art. I know I've been using that term in this video, but it's just false. It's a regurgitation. Nothing is lived experience, which to dive into that would take an entire other video to talk about, so I'm not going to do that here, but soon, maybe. But in summary, if you think that AI is the end-all be-all of all creative empires, you're stupid.
The fact of the matter is, good ideas don't come to struggling, exhausted people. They don't. Poverty suppresses your creativity. And yet, when you're handed this tool that could circumvent all of that exhausting production and let you get your idea farm to table, you're like, oh, no.
There's a false comparison being made here. AI is not the answer to this problem. With AI, you aren't making anything. You're telling something else to do the thing that you want. This tool that you think is a circumvention to the system is actually circumventing everything to do with creativity. If I want to draw a picture, I pick up a pencil.
You oppose generative AI because you prefer interdependence to interabundance. You'd rather stand hand in hand at the bottom than be the first one up the ladder. You think you're holding the line by resisting AI, but really, you're afraid of true creative meritocracy.
It's very funny that you use the word meritocracy. Considering in your own video about building society, you showed that it is one of the lowest forms of civilization. Lucas, you cannot act as if you are better and above everyone else, as you actively engage in a system that you have shown to be lower than others.
You think you're fighting the system? You are the system, defending itself. AI might take your job, but it's not a replacement for humans. It's not creative. You can't tell ChatGPT to have a good idea. You can't be like, hey, ChatGPT, write the greatest movie of all time. You have to bring the ideas. So I say, let's see who has the best ideas. They're going to hate me. I don't care. If AI can take your job, get better at your job.
Lucas, think about this for 3 seconds. AI does not need to be better at your job to take your job. It just needs to be able to do the bare minimum. It's time to talk about the economy. Listen, quick story. I'm a billionaire. I'm a terrible person. Why would I hire a team of writers when I could pay an intern minimum wage to churn out stuff through AI and then use that as the project moving forward? It's just that easy. Yeah, sure, it will be terrible, but at least it will still make money, and that's all I care about. Let's put this into Minecraft terms. Yeah, I could go mining every day and night to get all the iron that I need, but what I really should do is trap 3 villagers in a cage who will know nothing but fear and sleep deprivation, as a zombie is repeatedly shown to them in an eternal game of peekaboo. Villagers being fearful of the zombie will lead to the spawning of an iron golem who will know nothing but fire, pain, and agony for the 5 seconds of his miserable life. This cycle of constant horror and violence will materialize into the passive creation of iron ingots. Will the output be worse than me manually mining iron? Yeah, but I don't care. It's free. And Lucas, considering what happened to your show that you were working on and how it got canceled, it's safe to say that you've been replaced. In fact, your whole writing consultant job that you've been doing has been completely replaced as well. Copy and paste my script into ChatGPT and boom, I have instant feedback. You really want me to pay you money? I'm working a minimum wage job and can barely make it by. You really want me to give you $50? Pfft, please.
Once we get through this rough patch, we'll have UBI and universal health care and land back for indigenous and all kinds of dope shit.
If you really think that AI is the saving grace of society, I'm begging you to read Dune.
If I had access to artisans, then I would pay artisans. AI is simply a stepping stone for people who have not been elevated yet. You claim to want to be about the poor people. This is for the poor people.
Fine, I'll bite this stupid argument. What do you think that these poor people are learning from using AI? What are they good at? Prompting? In your ideal level 3 society, the poor people will come out the other end with no skills, zero talent, just brains filled with mush without the ability to form their own sentences. In order to actually get into the real industry, they're gonna have to learn how to make actual art. Art colleges and universities are gonna shut down their programs because everything's been replaced with AI. And the only people that are actually gonna know how to do everything are the rich. You want revolution? Get religion. Because AI ain't it.
Corporations will just take AI and use it to exploit us all more, right? Because that's what they do. But the corporations don't have creative people running them. I mean, that's why we're getting all these live action Disney remakes. They literally don't have good ideas. If me and Disney have the same tools, I'm eating Disney for lunch, bro.
But you will never have the same resources as Disney because they will crack down on AI. They already have. AI is bleeding and the sharks are coming. And I'm not even talking about big time cases. I'm talking about civil cases, small time instances that are popping out everywhere around the country. Small time authors suing AI companies for stealing their work. And since these small cases are working, lawyers now know, and lawyers can make a lot of money off of a lot of civil cases. Every AI company across the country is panicking right now because they know their time is up and the bubble is popping. It's almost like AI is the direct enemy of the common man.
It looks like corporate Hollywood is succeeding right now. They're not. They don't know what they're doing. They're treading water and harvesting bot money until better people come along and replace them, which we will because we're smarter and angrier, and the execs will fold because they don't actually care. We'll negotiate a percent and we will wave them off to their retirement homes, and that will be it.
So how's that going for you then? Spoiler alert, it's going bad. It's going very bad for him.
They're gonna try to paint you into a corner. They're gonna be like, well, if you don't agree with me, you're supporting bad thing. But get them away from me.
Yes, I will completely disregard the idea of debating and discussing views because I am right and nothing can prove me wrong.
Don't bother leaving a comment on this video either. I'm not gonna read it.
Spoiler alert, he's been reading the comments. All right, that's actually a really bad video. Before we move on to the full breakdown of Lucas's insanity, we have to go back in time. Before his AI video came out, his audience was already pretty upset about a video series that he was doing about the anagram. And the problem with this is that I have to defend him to a certain extent. Not all the way, don't worry. The thing about his anagram videos and his Ancient Vibes video that he posted is that both of these are based on pseudoscience. It's completely wrong, and he knows this, and he acknowledges that it is pseudoscience based on biased observations of the world. What he's doing is showing you how to write certain characters differently, and with the Ancient Vibes video, showing how to write within a certain type of society. I think it's completely fine for someone who's new at writing, or even an expert in writing, to use some different techniques in how to write and different methods to understand them and get used to them so you know what works and what doesn't. If you like it, cool, you can use it. If it doesn't, forget about it. But this is clearly not how Lucas uses them. You see, if you go to his quirky little website, you can see that he has found the cheat codes to writing. He essentially uses these techniques and his own philosophy as shortcuts rather than actual writing techniques that can be used in specific scenarios. It very much feels like a get-rich-quick scheme that you would see anywhere on YouTube. Treating writing as if it's something to get out of the way so that you can do the real production rather than the core source of all integrity in the movie. I cannot express how much damage the education system has done to writing when they tell kids that the hero's journey is an actual rule. No, not all stories follow the hero's journey, and if anything, they're better off because of that. If we treat these concepts as legitimate rules rather than merely biased observations as they are, we then get thousands of movies that are just slop that feels the same. And on top of that, the critical sphere will deteriorate to the point where people think Dune is bad because it doesn't follow a 3-act structure. So what happened after this? What made him an AI shill and suddenly a rap artist? Yes, that happened. There's something deeper going on with Lucas because you don't just turn into an AI grifter freak after 2 videos that seem relatively normal. Of course, I've already covered his Superman video, which was not good, but his F1 video is also really funny because he says this.
But then it occurred to me that this abomination was proving my point about AI and creativity, the point that cost me 2,000 subscribers last week. Technical ability means nothing if you don't have a passionate creative team.
Yeah, how's that going for you? Oh wait, you're homeless. It may seem like I'm being overly mean to a guy who's just lost everything, and that's because I am, and I don't care. Lucas is a terrible person. You see, Lucas moved to LA to make it big in the industry, and that might have been the worst decision he's ever made. He seemed a bit normal at first, he was a bit detached from the people that he cared about, but that was just because he was grinding. And it seemed to go fine at first, but that pitch that I was talking about earlier and he mentioned in his video was treated as his big break that then fell off. Another thing that he's done in his Discord that he is no longer in is mention how YouTube, Patreon, and consulting is the means to an end. Nothing more than a stepping stone to bigger and better things. If you want the honest truth, considering how little he would interact with his own community in his own Patreon Discord, I think it's fair to say that he never actually cared about his audience at all and only saw them as a way to make money off of them, and he would also treat them as an outlet to just stroke his own ego because they would tell him how good his videos are. On top of his fall off on YouTube and in Hollywood, his mental soon followed. While he was in LA, he eventually got addicted to drugs and was kicked out of his apartment by his roommates. And if you need proof of this, why do you think he's wearing sunglasses in his video? My man is gone. Once he was kicked out, he was supposed to go home, but instead did a wacky detour to his girlfriend's. And once he met up with her, he tried to trap her into an engagement under the guise of a promise ring. I'm not joking when I said that this was a terrible person, and it gets worse, because when she eventually said no because she found out, he then yelled at her and proceeded to tell her father that if it wasn't for him protecting her, she would get raped. What? After this, he then started abusing marijuana even more, and while this was happening, someone reached out to his ex-girlfriend to ask about his radical change, and she confirmed that he has been saying that he's a divine entity for a while now, which makes a lot of sense. And on top of this, she confirmed that he was crashing at hotels and charging all of those fees to his dad's account because he was a bad father and that he owed him. He even started stalking her when they cut contact, and now we're here. Because Lucas is such a schizophrenic freak, he's been doubling down on his absurdist beliefs and continuing to say that he was right. You're wrong, and everyone will see. Constantly stating that the internet isn't real and his audience isn't people to him. Stating that they're just bots to him. Repeatedly dodging blame and staying away from people just so that he can feed into this divine entity angle that he's been running with. Just look at this video.
Spiritual psychosis is a topic that I think is going to get a lot more traction.
Notice how he says traction. He's treating this as just another grift. God, this guy's too good at this. And now we're at the point where he has become nothing but a lol cow. And honestly, a part of me kind of loves it. I love that he's now treating books like it's the highest form of art and even becoming a rapper because of it, even though I don't believe that he's read a single book. I love that he's posting videos like Jesus or a white woman, because I would pray that he gets the mental help that he needs, and I would pray that he becomes a better person, but I just don't see that happening at all. Yeah, he's young, he could grow out of it, but he's so up in his own and has massive ego problems that if he ever actually wanted to change, it's gonna take like 5 years for him to realize this. But until then, he's just another creator that's fallen into obscurity the same way he said people that disagreed with him would. And that's the karmic principle. Hello, this video would be done and over with by now, but Lucas keeps talking. So on YouTube, you can post like community posts, whatever, y'all know that. He's been posting a lot of them recently, just catching up on where he's been. This one from a month ago says that he was doing okay. I think that that's probably a lie, but whatever. This one from 7 days ago that says that he posted his old videos again, and that he says he promises he's okay. Again, probably a lie. And then this post from a day ago where he says, me returning to my cozy ways after being vague and a little unsettling. What? And I thought after this he was doing okay and everything, but then he posted his first, I guess, full song. I guess it's not his first, but it seems like it's like the first one he cares about, you know? In which he still talks about being the savior or something, this divine entity. This is still in his songs. And then we have this video from 6 minutes ago talking about spiritual psychosis again. I actually had no idea that this was here when I started recording, so this is very convenient, I guess. I'm just gonna like take a listen to this.
I actually just did that. The thing in the title, give or take a few days. That's the first thing you learn when you're really going through it. It started with some things that became too hard to ignore, synchronicities and various patterns, all kinds of patterns. You even start to see shit on your phone, and at a certain point you can't ignore it. And so instead of using this newfound spiritual signism to supplement my life, I went fully down the deep hole. I did it. I friggin' did it. And it absolutely wrecked my body. Just the sheer amount of divine energy coursing through me is truly humbling.
So yeah, he's going insane still. I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't even know how to do anything here. And that's the karmic principle. It doesn't really work now that I said it twice.